Welcome to Daily Stoic, a space where we invite you to delve deep into the timeless wisdom of Stoic philosophy and integrate it into your daily existence. Here, we don't just offer teachings, we offer a pathway to achieving a life of inner peace, unshakable resilience, and profound meaning. Through the insights of great Stoic thinkers like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, you will find guidance that empowers you to face life's challenges with a calm mind and a strong spirit. We encourage you to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications, ensuring that you never miss an opportunity to enrich your understanding and grow with us. Your reflections are invaluable to us, and we eagerly anticipate your thoughts in the comments section of each video. Together, we embark on a journey of self-improvement, striving to become the best versions of ourselves. In the earlier chapters of Star Wars, we witnessed the intense and ultimately tragic romance between Jedi Knight Anakin Skywalker and Queen Padme Amidala of Naboo. Anakin, consumed by an overwhelming attachment, is plagued by a profound fear of losing Padme. This fear, so powerful and all-encompassing, drives him to betray the Jedi Order and embrace the dark side, all in a desperate attempt to avoid separation from the one he loves most. Regrettably, as fate would have it, spoiler alert, Anakin's deepest fear materializes, plunging him into profound emotional agony. While Anakin's fear of loss may seem extreme, it is in fact a fear many of us share. We often go to great lengths to keep those we love close, clinging to the hope that we can control the uncontrollable. However, Stoic philosophy warns against forming strong attachments to things beyond our control, including people. Epictetus, a revered Stoic philosopher, reminds us that it is foolish to wish for the eternal presence of our loved ones, for such desires are rooted in a futile attempt to control the uncontrollable and an impossible hope. Despite this wisdom, the pain of losing someone dear to us is a common and natural experience, one that causes significant suffering for many. The mere thought of losing someone close can induce anxiety. Yet the Stoics teach that the fear of loss and the agony of grief are born from irrational thinking. This video delves into Stoic philosophy, exploring the nature of attachment, the pain of losing loved ones, and how to navigate the difficult process of separation. Emotional attachment to others appears to be a natural and well-known aspect of life. Perhaps this is because, in many ways, our very biology encourages us to form bonds with others. The strength of our attachments can range from mild affection and attraction to an all-consuming pathological obsession. When we become attached to someone, we naturally desire their constant presence, and when they are near, the thought of their departure fills us with dread. This emotional dependency, however, often sows the seeds of turmoil within us. The more intense the attachment, the greater the potential for suffering, for we tether our happiness to something or someone beyond our control. In doing so, we place our well-being at the mercy of fate. Fate, the ever-unpredictable force, holds the power to determine whether what we cling to remains within our grasp or slips away. Thus, we find ourselves at the whims of Fortuna, the capricious goddess of chance and luck, who delights in toying with our emotions, granting us joy one moment, only to plunge us into sorrow the next. In our desperation to prevent separation from those we hold dear, we can make irrational choices as exemplified by Anakin Skywalker's tragic descent into darkness. His betrayal of the Jedi Order, driven by a desperate need to keep Padme in his life, illustrates how attachment can lead us astray. From a Stoic perspective, Anakin is far from free. His desires have made him a prisoner, a puppet dancing to the strings of fate. True freedom lies in the ability to act from reason, unshackled by the turbulent emotions that arise from attachment to external things. If Anakin were truly free, his actions would not be dictated by fear, hatred, or jealousy, but by rational thought, untouched by the chaos of the external world. The pursuit of keeping those we are attached to in our lives is, at its core, a selfish endeavor. When we wish for someone's presence, it is rarely for their own sake or for the greater good. Rather, it is to satisfy our own desire to avoid the pain of separation. This selfish devotion to our interests often clouds our judgment, leading us to make decisions that lack wisdom. We act not from a place of reason, but from a primal need to fulfill our desires. As Epictetus wisely observed, anything that seems to obstruct our interests becomes the target of our hatred and blame. Anakin's actions, filled with death and destruction, are a testament to this truth. Driven by his selfish needs, he becomes the very embodiment of this destructive impulse. In the words of Epictetus, "For it is in his nature not to love anything as much as he loves his own interest." This applies to his father, brother, relative, homeland, and God. So when we believe, for example, that the gods stand in the way of us achieving that, we curse them as well, throw their statues to the ground, and burn their temples, as Alexander ordered the burning of Asclepius' temples when the one he loved died. This quote underscores a fundamental truth about human nature. When our desires are thwarted, we lash out, even against the divine. Ultimately, the celebrated ideals of romantic love and strong attachments to things beyond our control are fraught with danger. They are potential recipes for disaster, for when we bind our happiness to that which lies outside our control, we set ourselves up for inevitable heartache and despair. How much suffering and bloodshed has humanity brought upon itself due to its deep-seated attachments? When a dear friend passes away, when a spouse leaves for another, or when a child decides to cut ties, we often feel as though something that was rightfully ours has been unjustly taken. This sense of loss, this perception that we have been deprived of someone we cherish, is a common reaction. Yet from a Stoic viewpoint, this is a flawed perspective. You do not lose people. Rather, you return them, for they were never truly yours to possess. Epictetus, the Stoic sage, urges us to shift our mindset. Never say, "I have lost it," but instead, "I have returned it." Is your child dead? They have been returned. Has your spouse passed away? They too have been returned. In the fourth book of Epictetus' Discourses, he elucidates why external entities, such as our children, family members, or spouses, do not fall under our control and therefore do not genuinely belong to us. Most of what we consider possessions are not ours in any enduring sense, as they can be taken from us in an instant. When it comes to those we hold dear, many of us navigate a murky middle ground. In the time of Epictetus, slavery was a commonplace institution, and people were accustomed to owning others as property. Epictetus himself was a slave before he became a renowned philosopher in Rome and later in Nicopolis. Today, slavery has been largely abolished, and we generally do not regard the people around us, be they employees, family members, or friends, as our property. Nevertheless, we often harbor a subtle sense of entitlement to their presence. We assume that our friends and family owe us their time and attention, that our employees should be punctual and diligent, and that our spouses should refrain from actions that might cause us distress. Moreover, we tend to form deep attachments to those we care about, treating them as though they are an integral part of our identity and existence. We often deceive ourselves into believing that certain things or people belong to us, but this belief is, at its core, a delusion. The truth is, external possessions are never truly ours, for if they were, they would always conform to our desires, remain with us indefinitely, and be immune to the grasp of others. From the perspective of Stoic philosophy, the notion of ownership over external things is an illusion that stands in stark contradiction to the reality of our existence. Consider this. If you wish for your body to remain whole and healthy, is that truly within your control? No, it is not. And what of your desire for health and well-being? That too lies beyond your power. The very act of living or dying is not within your grasp. Therefore, your body, far from being your own, is vulnerable to the whims of forces stronger than you. And what of your farm, your slaves, your clothing, your house, or even your horses? Are any of these truly under your control to be owned and kept as you wish? No, none of these things are truly yours. Moreover, even your deepest wishes for the safety and longevity of your loved ones, your children, spouse, siblings, or friends, are beyond your command. As Epictetus argued, all these external matters are subject to the revolution of the universe, governed by forces beyond human control, unless one possesses the omnipotence of a god. When Padme confronted Anakin with the truth that he was not all-powerful, his response, "Well, I should be," revealed his desperate realization that absolute power seemed the only way to keep her safe. It's no surprise, then, that romantic love is often described as passion, for it ignites a fire of emotions, stirring within us a storm of volatile experiences. This emotional turmoil is precisely why the Stoics viewed emotions with suspicion, recognizing them as potential sources of distress. In our modern society, emotional romantic relationships are often celebrated as the pinnacle of human experience. Falling in love is regarded as one of the highest states one can attain. Yet the ancient Stoics saw emotions as inherently problematic, distinguishing them into four categories: pleasure, appetite, distress, and fear. These emotions, far from being benign, can lead to profound suffering when they dominate our judgment. Consider the attachment we feel towards someone we love. When they are with us, we experience pleasure. In their absence, we are consumed by desire for their return. The fear of losing them haunts us, and should they leave or die, we are plunged into unbearable distress. The Stoics, however, teach that these emotions stem from irrational judgments about our circumstances. For example, from a Stoic standpoint, there is nothing inherently good about someone's presence, nor is there anything inherently bad about their departure or death. Loss and death are natural parts of life, neither good nor bad in themselves. It is only when we irrationally label certain events as positive or negative that we provoke emotions, allowing our thoughts to stray from the path of reason. The Stoics endeavor to liberate the soul from the chains of passion through the power of reason. Epictetus offers a profound piece of advice. Cultivate this practice from dawn until dusk. Begin with the smallest, most inconsequential things, perhaps a pot or a cup, and gradually work your way up to larger, more significant items, like a cloak, a pet, a horse, or even a piece of land. Eventually, extend this practice to yourself, your body, its parts, and then to those dearest to you, your children, your spouse, your siblings. Survey your attachments from every angle and consciously release them. Purify your judgments so that nothing external clings to you or becomes so entwined with your identity that its loss would cause you pain. When Anakin and Padme faced the dilemma of their impossible love, Padme urged Anakin to let reason guide his actions. Their respective duties, Anakin's to the Jedi Order and Padme's to the Senate, made a romantic relationship impossible, no matter how deeply they cared for each other. Yet Anakin confessed, "You're asking me to be rational. That's something I know I can't do. Believe me, I wish I could wish away my feelings, but I can't." But was he truly powerless? From a Stoic perspective, with the right mindset, disciplined practice, and a commitment to self-mastery, it is indeed possible to release strong attachments to others and to endure the departure of someone close with equanimity. Should a Stoic remain unemotional in the face of loss? For most, maintaining such calm after the death of a loved one is a monumental challenge. Freeing oneself from the grip of emotions is central to Stoic philosophy, yet achieving this level of detachment demands incredible effort and time. Even the revered Stoic sages, Epictetus, Chrysippus, and Seneca, likely struggled with this ideal, but their unwavering pursuit of it remains a testament to the power of philosophical practice. The Stoics recognized what they termed primitive emotions, those automatic instinctual reactions that occur without our conscious control. These are the immediate, involuntary responses we have when faced with sudden danger, like the jolt of surprise when encountering a threat, or the tears that well up upon hearing tragic news. Stoicism does not seek to suppress these natural bodily reactions. Instead, it teaches us to liberate ourselves from the subsequent emotions that may arise if we engage in irrational thinking. Seneca, one of the most prominent Stoic philosophers, offers us an intriguing approach to handling the grief of loss in one of his letters. In 41 AD, Seneca was accused of adultery by the new Empress Messalina, a charge that some historians question. The Senate initially sentenced him to death, but Emperor Claudius, in an act of mercy, commuted the sentence to exile. Seneca was banished to the island of Corsica, where he spent the next 8 years of his life in isolation. During his exile, Seneca wrote a letter of consolation to his mother, Helvia, who was deeply mourning her son's unfortunate fate. Rather than allowing her to indulge in endless weeping, Seneca advised her to avoid justifying prolonged grief. He reminded her that their ancestors had established a 10-month mourning period for widows, setting a clear boundary for their sorrow. This practice, he explained, was a way to organize and contain grief by placing a limit on it. In his own words, they did not prevent them from mourning, but they set a limit to their grief. While it is foolish weakness to give way to endless grief when you lose one of your dearest ones, it shows an unnatural hardness of heart to express no sorrow at all. The best middle path between affection and reason is to feel sorrow and restrain it. Seneca thus advocated for a balanced approach, a path of moderate and limited mourning. This perspective on grieving stands in contrast to the ideal Stoic response described by Epictetus, who envisioned a true Stoic as being completely undisturbed by the loss of loved ones. Seneca, however, recognized that most people, including his mother, are not Stoic sages capable of such detachment. For them, he offered a more practical and humane way of coping with loss. Not through the complete suppression of emotions, but through their moderation. Furthermore, Seneca encouraged his mother to take responsibility for her emotional well-being by immersing herself in the study of philosophy and applying its principles to her life. He assured her that this would heal your wounds and erase all your sorrow. In doing so, Seneca highlighted the power of philosophy not just as a tool for intellectual understanding, but as a practical means of achieving emotional resilience. Thank you for watching.